for Halloween hype. Here we go. Starting things off briefly with the photo, and then we'll be circling back to break it down even more methodically towards the later half of the video. But as you can see here in this tweet an hour ago, light out, the movie is about to start. Hashtag Ghost Station, hashtag Brawl Talk. So that Ghost Station appears to be the theme here for season 15. Now, to at least help us out a little bit with the Brawl Talk thumbnail breakdown, I'm just going to piece together all the more important details from this photo, and then again later on we'll be breaking it down super in depth. The centerpiece, we have some sort of film projector projecting a movie to 3 different people in the audience. Up here in this working station of the movie theater, it looks pretty dang messy if you ask me, but we have a ton of different reels. We have a pizza box there, we have some memorabilia to different movies, and also some more unidentified objects in the lower left-hand corner there, which I believe is going to be related to the new Brawler. We have some coffee over there, got a necktie over there, some Star Park interesting details, and yeah, that seems to be a little bit of a nice brief overview to at least help us out with the Brawl Talk thumbnail breakdown. But of course, in the tweet linking to the Brawl Talk premiere itself, we get a glimpse at the thumbnail as well as some further context with the actual title here, premiering in 24 hours at 10 a.m. my time tomorrow, October 22nd. But the title reads Brawl Stars Brawl Talk, Gears Rework, Shield Brawler, and more. So it appears also our predictions about the gear rework coming in this update are coming true, which is very exciting. Seeing that they slashed the prices of gears in the last update as well as brought them up in the last Brawl Talk, it wasn't that crazy of a prediction to make, but a definite want from a lot of people inside the Brawl Stars community, and seems to be somewhat of the highlight for this video. Very much so looking forward to what they did with it. But of course, another very important detail to keep note of as we move forward in this video is Shield Brawler. It seems like we're getting some fun mechanics in the realm of tankier brawlers moving into this update season 15. But with the initial info out of the way, I think it's about that time, as we always do in these photos, to really dig into this Brawl Talk thumbnail here. The Brawl Talk thumbnail is looking super interesting. The silhouette, as always when it comes to silhouettes, is not the easiest thing to try to predict what the brawler is going to be like, but I think we'll actually start off with that right now. Seeing that we already have context for brawler abilities being a shield brawler, we have a little bit more to go off of when we're trying to break down this silhouette. Definitely looking like a human brawler with some sort of weird stature here going on towards the middle of the body. Taking a look at the head portion first, the least difficult in my opinion when it comes to this silhouette, we can see a strand of hair, or what appears to be hair, there on the lower right hand side of the head. Working our way up from that strand of hair, it almost appears to be some sort of like glasses or goggles, but it's kind of also giving me like headband vibes, right? Tying back the hair. Seeing that in that sneak peek photo, we got a reel, so like a camera projecting the movie. Maybe this is some sort of director or the person actually working that movie reel, some sort of brawler fitting into the Lola trio. Brawlywood-esque director vibes it's giving me. So maybe they're kind of overworked, needing to haul around a large piece of equipment, so they're tying back their hair with a sweatband. As for the top of the head, it's giving me some sort of director hat as well, kind of like what we see on Director Buzz, for example, kind of like one of those traditional hats from a movie director. I don't know what they're called, but I think you guys can kind of catch my drift what I'm going for. Next up, moving down, it kind of looks like an ear there, or maybe the tail end of the sweatband or bandana. Again, that could be glasses or some sort of eye protection, seeing that they are film director or something like that, because if we go down even further, it kind of looks like we have a scarf or a band or a sweatband around their neck. We can see a tie there on the left, kind of like if you would tie off the sweatband, and this protrusion here. So maybe that necktie in the sneak peek photo is related to this brawler as well. But as we go further down the silhouette, things get very tricky if you ask me. I think the only human anatomy that we can see here are arms coming coming off towards the top. We have cuffs here, which kind of look like the article of clothing that they're wearing, so maybe a shirt, and then the arms protruding out on both sides here, and it looks like they are struggling to carry some sort of equipment, so they're like holding it up like this. Now where things start to get very, very tricky is definitely what they're holding, right? It makes the whole middle section of this silhouette very bulky and strange looking, but I think it's important to take note what looks humanistic and what looks more like the equipment. So as we go down further towards the legs here, we see some more rounded corners, which I believe has everything to do with the equipment that this individual is holding. This most definitely is what they're holding, and even I think this is a portion of the thing that they're holding as well. Now I have two different ideas as to what this individual is holding. I'm feeling a little bit better about it possibly being that reel or that camera. If they're a shielding brawler, that camera is definitely bulky enough to fit that description. Maybe they use the camera as a defensive tool, and that's why it's so dang bulky for this individual to hold around. But the other thing that I'm feeling a little bit less likely about, given the context of what we can already see in this silhouette, is that object in the lower left-hand corner of the photo. It appeared to be some sort of chainsaw, which again, we'll be breaking that down even further later on in the photo, but it kind of looks like if they were standing at the right perspective, that this jutting out thing could be the blades of the chainsaw, which might be a stretch, but it's just something that I thought I would bring up with all of you. But that is just about all I can pull away from this silhouette. When it comes to these things, you can truly only do so much, seeing that it totally depends on the perspective that they're standing in. But my hunch is this brawler is fitting into the Lola family, the Brawlywood family, and some sort of film director tanky shield brawler, which is kind of coming out of left field. I'm not gonna lie. Where were the Easter eggs about a brawler or some sort of vibes from the Brawlywood theme? I know it was speculated way back in the day, but the sneak peeks leading into this is definitely coming out of left field, which is fun nonetheless. I'm not going to complain about it. But taking a look at the other things we can get from the Brawl Talk thumbnail, we have the tier 1 skin for the season 15 Brawl Pass. I know it's hard. I had a hard time coming to the conclusion of what this brawler was in the first place, but it appears to be Penny here, believe it or not. Now this Penny skin was actually the subject of heavy Easter eggs and sneak peeks leading up to this Brawl Talk here. Her main attack, the hand that's detached, was hanging from the train that we saw so many days ago. First popping up here, and it appears that the raccoon popping up in most of these sneak peek photos is also correlated with the Penny skin. I believe, and I know it's crazy, that the Penny is going to be dropping down a trash can for her mortar, and the mortar is going to be shooting out raccoons for the actual mortar. As a little bit of a side note, it really goes to show that there's no pattern to Easter eggs leading up to Brawl Stars update. For example, this Easter egg photo for last year's update sneak peeked both of the brawlers coming to the game, with the balloon for Gus along with the trap for Sam. While it appears most of the noteworthy Easter eggs leading up here for season 15 were involved with this skin here for Penny, which is crazy, dude. It makes it very hard to predict updates, which I can appreciate from the Brawl Stars dev team. But with the Penny skin out of the way, the only thing left for us to look at is the background here. As you guys can see, we have some Star Park imagery. It appears that this is a little bit more deeply rooted, this theme, the train station in Star Park. Not every single update theme has Star Park imagery or anything like that, so it appears that this has a little bit of a deeper connection to it. We have that passing train in the background having a crazy glow to it, some sort of ghost train, and then a this way sign. Pretty dang cool. I'm liking this theme already. Now, as we always do in these videos, it's always important info to take a look at how long the duration of the Brawl Talk is, but much like last update, our usual method of typing in the title and going to images and clicking on it showing us the time isn't working. I think we're just too early to the punch on these things. It takes time for it to get processed on Google, but it appears it's working for some people, and again, I can't 100% confirm this because I can't see it for my own eyes, but the chosen one posted a 6-minute and 59-second lower right-hand corner time duration of the Brawl Talk. I'm assuming later on during the day, once we wait a bit longer, you all will be able to check and confirm what I'm saying here, which y'all did in the last update's Brawl Talk breakdown. But if we go off of this, 6-minute and 59-second Brawl Talk is fairly large. A lot of the Brawl Talks have been trending upwards in time durations. The Otis update was 7 minutes and 24 seconds. since this update with 2 brawlers, Bonnie and Janet, being released was 6 minutes and 44 seconds, and most of it is to attribute to the animations that are newly in these Brawl Talks here. So I'm assuming it's going to be somewhat normal in duration compared to the most recent ones. The only exception was the very last Brawl Talk, because we had a ton of info, the roadmap from the Brawl Stars dev team, about future updates and whatnot. So it looks like more of a traditional length for Brawl Talk. But oh boy, it's time for the later half of this video, and that is breaking down the Easter egg photo on the Brawl Stars social medias. So as I mentioned in last update's Easter egg photo breakdown, whenever it comes to trying to identify new brawler stuff in these photos, it's always important to take a look at foreign objects that are not correlated with anything from brawlers or environmental things in Brawl Stars that we know of. So the things that are standing out to me is this necktie here, this object in the lower left hand corner I believe to be a chainsaw, as well as the movie projector itself here. Before we dive into those, getting some of the more interesting ones out of the way that might be correlated to skins. As you guys can see, we have a ton of different films scattered throughout the photo here, some correlated to previous things from the past in Brawl Stars, such as Count Pengula, Squeak Busters. There we have the Headless Horseman or something like that. All of these were like movie posters back in the time when Brawlywood was a thing, so those are just kind of fitting into the theme here. We have 046 Gold Hand, a reference to Belle there, of course. We have Bibiana Jones, Indiana Jones, but BB-esque, and then we have Grom Matrix, so Grom aspects there. We have some other really interesting ones called Kill Bull, a poster up there, and Squeak First Blob, all the different somewhat interesting movie references. So I think some of these can be chalked up that maybe some skins would be coming to the game in reference to these. We've seen stuff like this in the past, like movie reference skins, much like Ghostbuster Gale. So maybe an Indiana Jones BB skin or a Matrix Grom skin. I'm almost positive that this is going to be a Squeak skin coming to the game, right? Maybe a Piper skin, who the heck knows, it could be coming to the game. But in terms of the actual films here, there's a few really interesting ones, such as Rejected Brawlers and a season 1 of Star Park. So I believe the word up there is just Stars season 1. I think this could be a reference to, of course, season 1 being the very first introduction to Star Park, right? The Tar Bazaar environment where we got the Morse code pointing us in the direction of the WKBRL live stream, which I think is the most likely explanation. But I guess the more interesting outcome would be that, you know, season 1 of Star Park was what we already gotten with Star Park here in this game. It was a very lengthy, interesting portion of Star Park, but it could be alluding to maybe there's a potential season 2 around the corner, a second coming of Star Park. That's definitely a bit more of a stretch, but could be a possibility. As for Rejected Brawlers, it's hard to wrap my head around this one, but this film very well could be showcasing brawlers that have gotten scrapped in the past. But other than that, it's really hard to formulate theories around this one, right? It's pretty bizarre and very interesting. Now, before we get into the other noteworthy references, I think it's important to take note of the audience as well as what's being projected here on the screen for them. So we have Ash there in the audience, we have Fang there, I believe, or possibly Rose, I thought it was initially, but could be Fang, and then Janet. But taking a look at what's on the actual film itself, we have the train and the theme here for season 15, the Ghost Station. We have some unidentified ghosts back here. This one kind of looks like the Nani skin that we have, but I don't think it's going to be chalked up as just that simple. We have this ghost with a hat. I'm not sure if these are in reference to like a new brawler or anything like that coming to the game. I think this might just be kind of setting the scene of what's being projected in the movie, right? They're just ghosts along this ghost train. We see the hanging hand once again, another homage to that Penny skin, and the raccoon in the train itself, another homage to the Penny skin. And then a very subtle detail in the lower right hand corner, once again that freaking mouse that I cannot put my finger on pops up with his slice of pizza. This has to be one of the most frustrating things in terms of Easter eggs popping up throughout leading up to this season 15. I just cannot wrap my head around the meaning of this this mouse? It has some significance, right? It keeps popping up in almost every single sneak peek photo. So all I can say right now is that the mouse is important, but I just don't know why. But with that out of the way, let's break down the more important things that could be correlated to brawlers. So we have a necktie here. I think the necktie has everything to do with the individual that is stationed here, the worker here. I think the brawler within the thumbnail. As you can see, they kind of made a mess of their workstation up here, but I think it can be chalked up that the new brawler has a lot to do with filmmaking or even some sort of animation aspects to them. There is a really interesting sticker here on this camera saying Star Minotaur, either a name for the actual camera itself, like the piece of equipment more branded towards Star Park, or like an animator but Star Park fashion, so Star Animator, but the words are combined. And then the other word there at the bottom is adult, and I think there is a 1 in front of it, so 1 adult, almost like a ticket, right? So like the ticket is 1 adult, and then the top half could be the adult's name, right, for the ticket. So Star Minotaur. So I don't think that'd be the full name or anything like that, but maybe looking at an important detail here in terms of what their name is. Now, there are some underlined things here which may be of some importance. It's just very hard to tell right now. Super strange, super strange, but I think this has something to do with, of course, the new brawler coming to the game, or one of the new brawlers. We have a coffee going on back here, which I find really interesting, almost as if the person, the new brawler coming to this game, was working here, but on break, right? He has a new mug of coffee, and they just walked away recently here for a minute. So I think the most important aspects for the new brawler within the thumbnail is this necktie, this camera, as well as the coffee. But the only thing that isn't necessarily correlated to this-esque type stuff, right? Movie projectors, is this piece of equipment down here in the lower left-hand corner, the chainsaw. So here's where my speculation is going to. It is still a very real possibility that we are getting 2 brawlers in this update, even though it's not advertised. It seems to be something that the Brawl Stars dev team has done in the past for updates, much like the Buzz update, 2 brawlers coming, but not necessarily advertised as so. But it would be a good explanation as to why we see some sort of crazy chainsaw there. Maybe the second brawler coming in this update's weapon. But other than that, there's really not much else to break down from this photo. Either way, it's super interesting. I also saw some fun speculations that the cord that this thing is plugged into is conveniently being covered up by the Squeak Busters film there, and maybe connected to the Star Park film there. But I think there's just an outlet behind it, just a fun little detail. But yeah, everyone, that's all I got for you here in this video today. Once again, make sure to stay tuned for that Brawl Talk first reaction here on the channel tomorrow. Always super fun to break it down as methodically as I can while watching it for the first time with all of you. But yeah, everyone, make sure to like it if you enjoyed it. Stay tuned to the channel for more exciting sneak peeks in regards to season 15 update. And yeah, with that being said, have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. Keep having fun with Brawl Stars, and we'll see you all in the next one. Adios and take care.